Pregame.com.
Wednesday, college basketball, Big East. We've got Connecticut at Georgetown. I'm Marco D'Angelo. I'm joined by Bryan Leonard. We're going to break down this one. We're taping on Monday, so again, we don't have the official line on this game. I did my line. Bryan did his. Bryan said 4. Georgetown -4. I said Georgetown -5. So we're going to split the difference and project 4.5 in this one. I'm easy to get along with. Bryan, both teams are coming off losses on the weekend. Georgetown went to Pitt on Saturday. Got beat up pretty bad. I mean, Pitt took them pillar to post. Georgetown was never in that ball game. And Connecticut on Sunday in what some guys might call paint dry game. I think the score was 50-48. I hate watching games like that. But, neither team really looked good. I can make an excuse for both teams on why they lost. Georgetown set stage for you on Saturday. I did have Pitt in that game, and one of the reasons I had Pitt, as we all know, Pitt had the long losing streak, the longest in the Jamie Dixon era. And they got back their guard 2 games ago, Trey Woodle, and he frees up Ashton Gibbs because Gibbs is more of a shooting guard than a point guard. And when Woodle's in there, it makes him be the player that he is. Woodle gets more assists, and the offense just moves a lot better. And it was ripe for the picking. I thought we got a soft number. And Georgetown come in looking at a Pitt team that, I think they looked past them a little bit. Pitt wasn't playing good. And Pitt now a little stat to file away. And it's one of those misleading stats because Pitt's been good themselves too. But that win on Saturday, since they opened the Peterson Event Center, Pitt has now hosted 12 top 10 teams at Pittsburgh. They're 12-0 straight up now against top 10 teams in that building. So it looks bad for Georgetown if you just look at scores and look how Pitt was playing. But if you dig inside, and that's the whole thing of handicapping is, you got to know when certain players come back and change the whole landscape. So it's not as bad as a loss as it looks like. Because let's not forget, Pitt was a top 10 team when the season opened. Connecticut on Sunday loses to Notre Dame. This is one of those ones, it's one of my little pet, things I like to look at. Connecticut already beat Notre Dame this year at Notre Dame, so it was a huge revenge game for Notre Dame, and Connecticut coming back home. It was easy for them to look past Notre Dame, so to speak, if you slapped them around on their court. So there you go. We got 2 teams that lost. I kind of made an excuse for both of them. Who do you like?
I actually like Connecticut in this game. I think it's a matchup situation. Georgetown is at best defensively defending the 3, but UConn's really not a 3-point shooting team. They're more dangerous underneath. And I think they match up very well underneath. Georgetown, on the other hand, they are more of an underneath team, and Connecticut's very good underneath the team. They are number 1 in the country defending 2-pointers. That is very important. And you talked about watching paint dry. We could see another one of those games right here. I think it's going to be another low-scoring game. There's going to be conference tournament revenge here for Georgetown. People are going to point to that, but you got to keep in mind, teams playing in these type of conferences, it doesn't matter if they lose in their, a lot of times they want to lose in their conference because that way they don't have to play the extra games. It's not like you're looking in the Ohio Valley or you're looking in the Horizon or one of the smaller conferences. So when people are going to talk about that type of thing, they're going to talk about conference tournament revenge. You could throw that out for the bigger conferences because, like I said, a lot of times it doesn't hold any water whatsoever. But Connecticut's actually played very well in this building. They won 5 out of the last 7 games in this series straight up at this venue. And I think they have enough big men underneath to be able to take away what Georgetown does best, and that's scoring inside, dominating inside. Georgetown's traditionally been a very physical team, and they play very good defense. And to be honest with you, you find a lot of value in playing Georgetown in those situations when they're playing a team that's more of a finesse team, a team that shoots a lot of threes. I just don't think this is a very good matchup for Georgetown.
Well, Georgetown has been a money burner. They've lost 7 of their last 8 to the spread. One of the reasons they're a money burner, and you kind of touched upon a little bit of it, is Georgetown is a team that they're not a transition team. They set up, play their half-court offense. So anytime you're a deliberate style, you're not only you limiting the number of possessions, I mean, that's your scoring opportunities. You're shortening the game yourself. Georgetown generally at home is a bigger favorite against most, the second half of the Big East. Let's face it. There's the haves and then there's the have-nots. So a lot of times they're laying a big number or double-digit number. They're not a good free throw shooting team either. And that's a bad combination when you're a favorite. If you're a team that plays a deliberate style, so you're less possession, so there's not as much chance for separation. And then if you do have that, you're in that mid-range where the games you're winning, but the game's still not totally in doubt, and they're fouling you, and you're not connecting on the foul shots, and then you get a team that makes a three here or there down the stretch. It can end up being spread beaters, and that's what happens to a team like this. What I'm looking at and key is going to be, we always talk about value and line. Connecticut is a team, there's no question this team's down from last year. They lost players from the championship team last year, but they're still Connecticut. They're still a name. So I'm hoping the odds maker comes out with a line closer to what you're talking, where I might be tempted to look at the Georgetown side just because I'm not laying that big number where, it comes into play, foul shots down the stretch net. I just think that Georgetown is a better ball club overall than Connecticut, but Connecticut is just always so dangerous as a dog because they play great defense, they play fundamental basketball, and when you're in a game like this that's going to be a low-scoring game, this is one of those ones too. You might want to look at the over-under in this game. I see these teams, at best, being in the mid-60s at best in this game. So, depending on what that total comes out, that might be a way to look too on the under. But I can't really make a strong case for Georgetown just because they're not covering the spread. I hate a team that, only shoots, I think, 69% from the foul line when you're a favorite.
69 is actually not bad in college because you take a look at these teams and the best shoot in the 70s. So 69 is not bad. But you have to keep in consideration it's going to be a low-scoring game, so every point, we've talked about this in football many times, every point is exasperated based on the total. So the points are more valuable here than they are when you got a game at 150 total.
It seems like if I have Georgetown, 69, I hear you, is not that bad, but if they're shooting the front end of a one-on-one and I've got Georgetown, they're missing that front end, and then it's, they're 0-1, but it was a possible 2.
That's a great point because in the NBA you can shoot 69, which isn't very good in the NBA, but you get 2 free throws every time.
Yeah.
In college you're shooting 69 and you miss that first one, you've just ruined the whole possession.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at on it. You've got Connecticut winning, you got them winning this game?
I'll take them to win straight up here.
All right, well, Bryan Leonard's going to go with Connecticut. I'm on the fence. I'm actually going to get off the fence in the next game. I've got to pick on the next video we're doing. We're going to the NBA. This is a pretty interesting matchup. We're going to go Oklahoma City at the Dallas Mavericks. That's up next.